We're gathered here today to remember the bravery, sacrifice, and steadfast dedication of 447 men of Old Yarmouth, who answered the call to serve during the American Revolution. We also recognize the strength and resilience of the families, friends, community members who supported from home, sharing hardships and uncertainties of a nation striving for independence. Together we commemorate their contributions and reflect on the legacy they left for future generations.
We watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That gave so much during the Revolution. And above all stands the crowning bronze sculpture, a Yarmouth Revolutionary War family. A militiaman, his wife, and child beside a plow. It reminds us that the burden of liberty was never carried by soldiers alone. When these men marched away to war, wives remained behind to raise children, tend farms, manage households, and sustain communities. The struggle for independence was fought on the battlefield and on the home front. This monument honors all of them. Today we dedicate this memorial. We do more than remember names carved in bronze and stone. We renew our connection to the ideals these families defended: courage, self-government, civic duty, and freedom. May this monument stand for generations as a reminder that the story of the American Revolution was not written only in Boston, Philadelphia, or Yorktown, but also right here in Old Yarmouth by ordinary citizens who chose liberty and helped give birth to the nation. Thank you.
It's a real pleasure for me to introduce our next speaker, Congressman Bill Keating. The Congressman represents the Cape and Islands and communities in southeastern Mass from Plymouth to New Bedford and as far as Westport. In Washington, he serves on the House Armed Services Committee and the House Committee on Foreign Affairs. He's respected as a consensus builder who works in a bipartisan way to get things done. Before his election to Congress, Mr. Keating served in the state legislature and also as a Norfolk District Attorney. He and his wife Tevis live in Bourne. Congressman, we're honored that you're here to help us mark this important occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Congressman, Bill Keating.
For what you're doing and what you've done here. I don't know who's in charge of the weather, It was a Bob? All right. Yeah, I think, well, whatever. Whatever we were looking at, it sure worked. It couldn't be more beautiful. You know, as someone who grew up as a child, having his father be the keeper of the graves in our hometown, I realized what an important task that was, what an important responsibility. And the Historical Commission that went back in this sacred area and so reverentially dealt with this, got the history, brought it forward, is really a gift. It's a gift that we all celebrate here today for part of the effort they did, and really recognizing people that certainly predeceased us generations ago. When you look at what we're celebrating today and go back in time just a little bit, you realize that the revolution was in the minds of people far before the first bit of blood was shed in Lexington. It was in the minds of political philosophers, people that had dreams, yet it was only in America that it became a reality. It stopped being a dream, a theory, a hope, and it became reality. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. You know, if you go back in time, the people that we're honoring here were absolutely in the minority, because most Americans during that period either were indifferent to this revolution or remained loyalists. And it was hard for those people. If they had a business, they risked that. If they had a family reputation, they risked that. And as we remember people here, if they had lives, they risked that as well. And in Yarmouth, it's spectacular, really, as you go back and the work that the people that were responsible for today did in bringing this forward. There's a great deal of pride everyone should have, because although there's been all kinds of statistics about how many people served our country in the Revolution, the myth of 3% is pretty much dispelled, but it runs somewhere with the 12 to 15% of the population at that time actually took arms and participated. And when you look at what the work that has been done here uncovered, it's extraordinary. I think it was over 60% of the mayors in Yarmouth participated. I dare say this, I can't think of another community in the country that would have a higher percentage than right here. And that was at a time when they had so much at stake. So as we celebrate this today, I'll just mention something John Adams said before. Not only the revolution started in people's minds, but it carried on long after the victory of America at Yorktown. In fact, I hope that the work here today, the preservation that came here today, the inspiration that's here today, I hope that is imbued in the minds and hearts of young people too, that come by and see this. Because they may not realize it, but I hope they understand in seeing this, they are revolutionaries. We all are part of that revolution. It did not stop because of the nature of what this idea accomplished, where instead of loyalty to a sovereign, loyalty to land, loyalty to ethnic backgrounds, or loyalty, I almost did that two different ways at the same time. Or any kind of background, that was easier. Regardless of what that is, the loyalty was to the people. It was to each other. And it was there to determine that people have their own freedoms. They have their own freedom of religion, their own freedom of speech, their own freedom of association, and the right to live in peace and tranquility, and to preserve these liberties. But it must be transferred from generation to generation to generation if it's going to last. And all those things are here today. History is just not looking backwards. It's taking the lessons we learned looking backwards and bringing them not only to the present but the future. And this is what we're celebrating here today. This is the gift that everyone that worked so hard gave today. And this is what the extraordinary history of Yarmouth, and the Dennis area too, coming together, really has served as an example of great pride. And as we're here in our 250th, what better time to recognize such an involvement by a community, and something that I think will last, I hope, indefinitely into the future. It can last if we all do what these revolutionary heroes did. So as part of preserving that history in a permanent sense, I wanted to share with you part of the congressional record. So this goes into the congressional record as a permanent document, so that people can look back at it and determine this was part of today's ceremony. So let me share it with you in conclusion. The House of Representatives, in honor of the town of Yarmouth's 250th Independence Day. Mr. Speaker, I rise today in recognition of the town of Yarmouth as it celebrates its 250th Independence Day. Throughout the Revolutionary War, patriots from Yarmouth played an important role in our country's fight for independence. In 1775, as tensions rose between the colonies and the British government, Yarmouth's militia rode to assist the battles of Lexington and Concord before receiving word of a British retreat, marking the start of the American Revolution. In the spring of 1776, patriots from Yarmouth served under George Washington at Dorchester Heights, fortifying the city and forcing British troops to evacuate Boston. Then in June 20th, 1776, weeks before the United States of America formally declared independence from Britain on July 4th, 1776, Yarmouth residents came together and took the brave step to declare their independence. Ahead of the upcoming semi-quintessential, see, I got that right. Historians for the towns of Yarmouth and Dennis led extensive research into Yarmouth's role in the Revolutionary War. Their research found that 447 men from Yarmouth fought for our country's independence, 53 of whom are buried in Yarmouth's ancient cemetery. To honor these patriots' bravery and dedication to the country, the town commissioned a monument to be built by the renowned Robert Shore, and for official sons of the American Revolution granite markers to be placed at each of the 53 graves. On June 20th, 2026, the town of Yarmouth and nearby communities will gather for an unveiling and dedication of the Revolutionary War monument at Thacher Park, followed by a wreath laying and grave marker dedication ceremony at the Yarmouth Ancient Cemetery. So, Mr. Speaker, I am proud to celebrate the town of Yarmouth's 250th anniversary of independence. I ask my colleagues to join with me in recognizing the bravery of Yarmouth patriots and their dedication to freedom, democracy, and our republic during the Revolutionary War. Thank you.
June 20, 1776. At a town meeting, legally warned, and held in our West Meeting House in Yarmouth, David Thacher, chosen moderator for said meeting, and passed unanimously unto the inhabitants of the town of Yarmouth do declare a state of independence of the Kingdom of Great Britain, agreeable to a late resolve of ye General Court, if in case the wisdom of ye Congress should see proper to do it. And also passed a vote to choose 7 for a committee: David Thacher, Joshua Gray, James Hawes, Will Thacher, Isaac Hallett, Alan Baggs, Sam Baker, to draw up a state of their grievances that the town labor under, respecting their public affairs, and to bring in their report at the adjournment of said meeting on the 27th day of June, the West Meeting House in Yarmouth, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, at which time and place this meeting is adjourned. From the minutes of the Yarmouth Town Meeting, June 20, 1776, Seth Toby, Town Clerk.
Now the back! Fire! I bring greetings on behalf of the President General of the Sons of the American Revolution, Michael Elston. As David said, my name is Jim Holmes. I'm the Vice President General for the New England District, and it gives me great pleasure to be here to represent our entire district. And before, I want to make sure I call out and give thanks and honor to David Schaefer and the entire Cape Cod and Islands chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution, who have done an absolutely amazing job in not only the history of pulling all this together, calling a wonderful day. I don't know how you pulled this out, but it is truly all the work that you've done.
Captain Gray and the 52 other patriots buried here in Ancient Cemetery have left a legacy of bravery and commitment to serve one's country in defense of freedom and liberty. It is an honor to stand among them. The Cape Cod DAR conveys our heartfelt gratitude to the Cape and Islands SAR for honoring Yarmouth's patriots. Thank you.
Thank you for attending this dedication of the granite SAR Patriot Grave markers today. A part of the mission of the Sons of the American Revolution is honoring our nation's Revolutionary War patriots. Not only ignited gunpowder launching a musket ball, but it also ignited a war which would change world history. Unknown to its participants, with this early shedding of blood, our nation's struggle for independence had begun, and that historic shot resulted in a conflict that lasted 8 long years. 8 years of brutal combat and untold suffering of soldiers and civilians alike. 8 years that would have a significant impact on the members of the Yarmouth community and the inhabitants of the entire Cape. Americans would not only fight British Army, they would also fight fellow colonists and loyalists, some of which unfortunately were their neighbors. Today, the acrid smell of burned black powder has dissipated. The bayonets of the soldiers and the swords of their officers are sheathed. And as we congregate here, we are fortunate that the combined cries of newly made widows and that of mothers whose sons never returned have long faded away. Today, and every day in the future, that you will not let the sacrifices of these patriots fade into history. But instead, together, we shall share their names and individual stories with future generations who will follow in our footsteps. Their story should inspire us